Your late wife was very keen on the Scandinavian.
Yes, she loved it here, and she did a lot in the castle too. As you know, she liked shocking pink colours and this sort of thing. Elsa Schiaparelli was an old friend of hers, and yes, and we had a marvellous help with us here too. We had this wonderful Latvian cook called Anna Godin, who looked after her wonderfully well. She had to be very careful. Yes, she loved it here, and she was always very enthusiastic about local things. You know, she had her shop in the village, and she had her crafts and everything she stimulated, and she was very actively involved in everything, and very good. She was an amazing. She had an amazing memory, and she could. She remembered people, and she remembered. If she interviewed anybody or anything, she could remember all the detail of that without taking any notes at all. Her handwriting was very dramatic. You couldn't repeat it, and it was so dramatic that I think, yeah, you could have put it up almost as wallpaper. But she could. Her spelling wasn't too good, and her commas and punctuation was a little bit haphazard. But somebody else could do all that sort of work. The main thing was the story, and it was absolutely there. I mean, she got everything. She could remember all the detail perfectly. So she was most unusual. She was very dramatic and very special looking. And of course, she was very much in the fashion world as well. And but the idea of the Highlands and everything appealed to her and the people who lived in it. And she was, yes, she was very special. Yes.
And you, at some stage, you decided to open the castle to the public. Was that quite a challenge?
What?
You opened the castle to the public.
Yes, well, it was a challenge in a way, because one didn't know quite how it was going to go. But getting it ready to open to the public is quite a challenge. Of course, in those days, it was before sort of houses that opened up much in this part of the world. For instance, Balmoral wasn't open. And we gradually built up, getting things a little bit better, learning as we went along. And I think we sort of got up to attendance figures of somewhere about the 30,000 or slightly more, I can't remember. But then, as I say, Balmoral we were not competing with so many others at that time. It was, at that moment, the trouble was, you see, most of the moors and things at Invercauld were on lease when I first came here to the royal family and so on. And we had to try and I didn't come into a great fortune, and a lot of improvements had to be done, not just in the big house, but in the cottages and all around. And we did sell off the odd houses, as you all know, to try and raise some cash to help do all this kind of thing. But we had to make improvements, and so it was not easy. And then, as we didn't have rich people taking a sort of an important looking place like Braemar Castle, they might want not just the castle but fishing or shooting or stalking or something, and we didn't have a lot, so to speak, free to attach to a place like Braemar Castle. So it came to a moment when it wasn't too easy to get a tenant probably for the castle without attaching that sort of thing, which we needed to help us deal with Invercauld and the big house. So at that moment we began to think, well, what can we do? We'd better open it to the public. And that's how it really started. And yes, it's quite a challenge to get it off the ground for a start, but and we began in a fairly straightforward, simple way, and but gradually it sort of got going, and now with the community involved and everything else. But I mean, as time goes by, what's going to happen next, and what we're going to have to sort of do in the way of repairs and maintenance and so on. As you can see, we look arrived today.
Repairs is obviously a big problem for us, and we're planning to replace all the harling. Can you remember at any stage doing works to the harling outside of the castle?
No, I don't think we did very much. I can't really remember very much going on. Never happened in your time, did it, when you were... No.
Well, we did a few patches.
What?
Yeah, we did a few patches, but that was all.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And then we ended up, I remember when I arrived, the rear quarters were all, they were letting water in, weren't they?
That's right, yes.
Because you had the Victorian bit.
That's right, because we used the rear quarters for staff and that kind of thing when we were in residence here. Or for putting up staff in the summer when we had the castle open, like that. But, yes.
And another wonderful story I've always enjoyed is your Bentley.
What about the Bentley?
Well, I remember it vividly, and
yeah.
I think you used to drive it to Crathy Church on a Sunday, didn't you?
Yes, I did, yes. Well, it was a lovely car. I had it for a very long time. And, but in the end, I thought it was time for it to go. So it went. But yes, I used to take it all over the place, Europe and everywhere when we went on holiday. Yes, it was a lovely car.
Your late wife was very keen on the arts and fashion, and I think they opened up the theatre.
She did, yes. Yes, she did. And we had some wonderful shows there. Well, I suppose there were too many churches in the village, really. And this one was surplus to requirements, put it that way. So what on earth can you do with the church? And well, of course, it was what do you call it when
delisted.
Yeah, and
deconsecrated.
Deconsecrated, that's right. And so then she already, I think, had got her crafts going up in the hall and everything. What are we going to do with the church? So we thought to make it to a so-called theatre. And we had some really special shows there, and they went very well. And she was a great catalyst in getting people going and their eyes going. And she didn't draw or paint or act herself, but she stimulated others, and she was very much in that world. And I mean, she was always dramatic in her dress, and yes. And so the theatre that went very well, really, and it was appreciated.
And you had a couple of shops, I think, didn't you?
Yes, she had the big hall, and then she had the little shop down at the bottom here. They were sort of different in their approach. The bigger one, she could put on exhibitions or weaving, or I don't know what I remember she had some Japanese girls over once doing some things. She had all sorts of ideas, and the smaller one down here was more, well, it was local things, dress and tartness and all kinds of things there.
Did you ever commission any new works of art or from any of the artists she was working with?
Commissioned new
works of art?
Theatre.
Or any productions for the theatre?
I think she did once or twice. She did. I can't remember much about them now, but she did have one or two performances, local ones. I'm sure she did.
And another wonderful part of life in Braemar is the Highland Gathering, and you must have been coming to that for a very long time.
Well, I never came to it as a child, but I suppose my first one was when I came up here after the war. Yes, I only missed one. I missed one because I had a thread thing. What are they called? I can't remember.
Laryngitis?
What?
Laryngitis?
No, it wasn't laryngitis. It was something. Anyway, I couldn't go. I had temperature and I couldn't go. and it's the only one I miss. Well, I've been to every one. And the same thing with Ballater. I mean, I think I've been to about 70, something like that.
Must be a record.
I don't know.
And then I think your wife commissioned the Son and Lumiere down at the theatre, a sound and light show, a Son and Lumiere.
Son et Lumiere. Yes, she did. We had a Son et Lumiere here at the castle. That's right. Yes, which she did. And that was very dramatic too. She had new ideas all the time, and yes, I remember that quite well.